on Bingo, 4 o'clock rock, our favorite show, Think Tech Hawaii's Hawaii, the state of clean energy, on Wednesday from 4 to 4:30 actually. And my co-host for this discussion, Ray is back. Ray Starling, welcome back, Ray.
Glad to be back.
Great to see your smiling face. I guess in our other co-host, our principal guest, our principal studio guest, we have Leslie Cole Brooks from the DER Council, the Distributed Energy Resources Council. Welcome to the show, Leslie.
Hey, thanks to be back. It's just been a week, and I guess I must have behaved myself last week. So.
No.
Oh.
And we have by Skype and on the phone, we have Brent Harris. He's an engineer, and he's the Chief Technology Officer of Eguana Technologies. That's a hardware company. Welcome to the show, Brent.
Thanks for having me. It's great to be here.
And we have Andrew Krulewitz, who's Director of Marketing and Product at something called Geli, and that's a software company. Welcome to the show, Andrew.
Thank you very much, and aloha.
Great to have you here. Okay, so first thing that's going to happen is Leslie is going to describe to us what this is all about. It's in our continuing series about distributed energy resources. So why, Leslie, is this show different from all the other shows?
Well, last week we sort of laid the ground. We introduced distributed energy resources, and we talked about generation, storage, demand response, EVs, the whole assortment and wonderful array of possibilities. Today, the purpose is to dig in more and to look at smart grid technologies and really the great the brains that is behind distributed energy resources. And so we have these two companies today that have so much to offer, and they're really just taken off, and I'm so honored to have them here today to talk about what they're doing and how it serves as the maitre d', so to speak, the organizer between generators and storage, and why it's smart and how it's going to help Hawaii get to its 100% clean energy goal.
You guys are definitely in the center of the storm. So Brent, let's talk to you first. You're Chief Technology Officer for a hardware company. Want to tell us a little about that hardware company and tell us what you do and what it does?
Yeah, sure. Our company is Eguana Technologies. We manufacture power controls and inverters for energy storage systems. We've got a residential product that is being installed in Hawaii by homeowners and also by the utility there to help deal with some of the issues on the grid. I guess related to smart inverters, we do have a smart inverter integrated in the system. It was the first storage inverter to meet all the new smart requirements of Hawaiian Electric, and we're out there demonstrating some of those capabilities right now.
So what's special about your stuff?
We have a very good storage inverter, but what's special about the advanced inverter controls is letting the utility do things out on the distribution feeders near the homes that they normally can only do at generation sites. So they can control reactive power, they can control the system to manage voltage on the grid, and they can actually respond to peak demand and do other things with these smart inverters.
So where physically is this box located? At the home or at the utility?
It's at the home, so it hangs outside of the wall. It can be outside or inside. So,
just hanging out, you know.
It hangs on the wall. It is connected on the load side of the meter of the home, and when it's deployed by the utility, they can connect it on their line side, on the utility side of the meter, or on the homeowner side.
And how does it talk to the utility and get the data it needs or send the data it needs to send?
We work with a local company called eGear, based out of Aiea, near Honolulu there, and they have a control system that aggregates these systems together and provides an interface to utilities so they can dispatch it the way they want to.
So the smart inverter and the communication device, is this the kind of thing we should have in every home in Hawaii?
You will get it in almost every home. By the end of this year, every solar system going in is going to have a device like this as part of it.
Is that because it'll be required, or everybody will decide they want to do it?
It'll be required if you want solar under the new customer self-supply program with Hawaiian Electric.
Ah, exciting. Okay. How many have you got installed right now? 3, 4, 10, 100?
We have a handful installed. There'll be 10 pilot installations on the island of Molokai by the utility. And within a month, we'll have our first systems through the whole permitting process there and have a couple dozen installed in Hawaii.
Did you say permitting process? What do you
Yep.
have to permit to hang a black box outside a solar facility?
It's part of the solar system, so it goes through the same permitting process as the solar system.
How long has it been in this permitting process?
We understand typically is about 60 days.
Okay, is it over 60 days yet?
No, it's getting close.
Okay. Okay, Ray, I'm turning this witness over to you.
Oh, what is that line of questioning? Where are you going with that? So are we going to?
I think I wanted to make a point.
Yeah, oh, yeah, I heard that coming.
Ray, what do you got?
Yeah, Brent, I wanted to ask, what do you not have now that you need, either from your side or from any other side? And what is missing that we need to be thinking about? And perhaps if you could start with the hardest thing that you have to provide that's not there yet.
As far as the technology, all the pieces are there. There's going to be some ongoing work with the utility to kind of evolve the solution. There's some basic requirements there, and once there's some more experience with it, those will get a little more sophisticated. In order to get more adoption of it, there's two things. One is getting the regulations in place and kind of clarifying this whole application process and making things go a little smoother, since there's been this big transition in the solar program last November. So that's a big one, just smoothing it out, and then getting everybody to understand what it is and what it can do. So, I mean, it's really on the ramp right now, and there aren't any technology pieces missing.
So you have to have an aggregator to bring enough of the pieces together that it makes something substantial enough that the utility would be interested in. Is that correct?
If you have an aggregator and you can aggregate them, you can get a lot more value out of it. But as a first step, the new smart inverter requirements from Hawaiian Electric allow each independent system to make its own decisions about what it's going to do in a way that benefits the grid. But there's a limitation to that. Once you aggregate them together, you can get a lot more value out of it.
This is so with any kind of electronics, I think. Brent, just one thing. Have you got this installed elsewhere? I mean, are you virtually covering the state of Ohio, for example?
We have about 5,000 of our inverters installed in Germany. And we've got our first deployments done in California now as well on our new AC battery product for the US market.
Where do you manufacture them?
We're manufacturing them in Canada right now at our shop, and as the market grows in the US, we're likely going to move that manufacturing to California.
You're actually in Canada. We're talking to you in Canada.
I am in a remote part of Canada here right now, which is why you can't see my face on the screen.
I see it.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey, Brent, could you say something about the Molokai project?
Yeah, it's as many of your listeners may know, there's been a lot of solar systems waiting to be interconnected under the old net metering program on Molokai more than a year. I believe it's about 104 of the 2,000 electrical customers that have been waiting over a year. So what Maui Electric is doing is taking these storage systems, and they're doing 10 houses to start, putting a storage system on the outside of the house, connecting it on the line side of the meter, and kind of using it like a buffer. So when the solar is produced during the day, they'll store it in the battery and then let it flow out through the evening onto the grid. So in that way, they can get these systems connected under a basic net metering contract that those customers were awarded, but still maintain the stability of the grid.
So one more question before we take a break, and that is, in the model that you're rolling out here in Hawaii, who buys it? Who is your customer actually, and how much does it cost?
The customer is either the utility or the homeowner. Depending on the size of the system, be anywhere between $11,000 to $20,000 to get the system in, and then we're looking at some other models where a third party could own these systems, aggregate them, and then deliver services to the utility rather than the utility owning it themselves.
And that would be like a financing arrangement, essentially, yeah.
And
Yes.
Brent, isn't it the case that on the pilot project in Molokai that the utility aren't they taking ownership
Yes.
of the storage?
On Molokai, the utility is taking ownership and full control of the system. So they're going to use it first to ensure these customers get their solar connected to the grid. And once they've met that need, then they'll have an asset that's sitting there that's very flexible, and they can start to use it to help stabilize the grid in other areas.
So
Right.
at the end of the day, this is a way to make the whole system more efficient. That everybody knows what the demand response is, and the machinery can all, provide power in the most efficient way. Am I right about that?
That's exactly right, and it's the smarts that you put at the customer site or at the home that allows you to do that wasn't there before. And what the utility will find that they find elsewhere once you've made kind of this advanced inverter features are really kind of like an appetizer for what you can really get out of distributed energy systems. Once they start with that, they're going to find when they have that node there with all the intelligence, they're going to want to put more capabilities at that location.
Yeah, and then it's a question of finding new possibilities with software, and that means we're going to take a short break and come back to Andrew Krulewitz, all about software. Hang in there, guys. We'll be right back. 1 minute. You'll see, I promise. Watch this.
Aloha, everybody. My name is Mark Shklov. I'd like you to join me for my program, Law Across the Sea, on thinktechhawaii.com. Aloha.
Aloha and welcome to Think Tech Hawaii. I am Ina Chang. I am the guest host for Small Business Hawaii with Reg Baker. Tune in every Thursday at 2 p.m. and watch us. Aloha.
Aloha, my name is John Waihe'e, and I used to be a part of all the things that you might be angry at. I served in government here and may have made decisions that affects you. So I want to invite you in. I want to invite you in to Talk Story with me and some very special guests every other Monday here at Talk Story with John Waihe'e. Come on in, join us, express your opinion, learn more about your state, and then do something about it. Aloha.
Win! I won! We're back. We're live.
I miss us interrupting each other because when the guests are on the phone, everything's very polite. Have you noticed that?
No.
Does he get nasty when he's got people
Well,
in
when
the
then
room?
people interrupt.
Andrew, I hope you can tolerate this
so
banter
anyway,
we
so
have
Andrew
here.
had to sit there all this time,
We're trying to show
and,
Leslie Cole Brooks how to have fun. It's not easy.
I know. I'm trying, really.
So Andrew, I love, full disclosure, I love software because software can do anything you want it to do. And I suspect, just looking at you with your headset on like that, you also love software. Am I right?
This is true, and that's why I've chosen to work at a software company. And we here believe that we can do whatever it is that we want to do, and our customers believe that we can do whatever it is that they want to do.
That's the whole.
That's what
the
you
right
just
attitude,
said.
man.
Oh my
That's
God.
it. You got it. So tell us what.
What's the
Jelly
jelly roll? Yeah,
What
what's
does
the
it got
jelly
to do
roll?
with jelly? Like deli? What is that?
What does Geli? You nailed it. So Geli is actually an acronym. Geli stands for Growing Energy Labs Incorporated. The company was founded in 2010, and we've been working on energy storage software management systems since then. But it goes beyond just the battery, and we are actually integrating all types of energy assets to provide energy services to the grid or to a homeowner, as is the case is what we're doing in Hawaii. So I hope that somewhat answers your question about what Geli does. But I think I have an answer to the question about what barriers exist in Hawaii to increased adoption of distributed energy resources. And while a lot of the solar installer community is complaining, or they've they're unsure of the new grid rules, Geli is working hard to find ways in which that we can equip solar developers and hardware providers with the tools necessary to continue installing systems that the utility views as assets and not as liabilities. So that's our goal for working in Hawaii.
Yeah, what's your platform? Where does your software go?
Where does it go? That's a great question. So unlike Brent, we don't have a nice box that you can hang on your house. So our software platform starts in the cloud. Solar project developers upload energy use data to an analytics platform, and we tell them this is the size battery and this is the size solar system that you need to best fit this home or business. And then provided they can sell the system to the homeowner or the business owner, then our software is installed on site on a little computer that sits adjacent to the power converter. And we tell the power converter when to turn on and off, and we communicate with the grid, we communicate with the battery, and pretty much anything else you can think to hook up in there. And then it actually goes back to the cloud. So homeowners or business owners can monitor what their system is doing, and of course the utility can interact with it via various utility protocols.
So what is the difference between what Brent was talking about and what you're talking about? Are you on Brent's boxes? Are you on all boxes?
So you were saying that software takes hardware providers, to crazy new places, and I can tell you this: Brent and I together have been to some pretty hairy places, so we know all about that.
And Brent doesn't get to defend himself here, and I think that's a...
Oh, you can
that's
defend
right.
yourself.
Yeah,
Brent's still
Brent's frozen in time.
That's true.
Brent, respond, will you?
No, we work together. The
Good.
Geli's software and our hardware, complementary technologies. You need both of those pieces to get a full, and the battery itself to get a full energy storage system.
So
That's
let
right,
me
that's
get it
right.
straight. So your software is going on Brent's boxes, but your software is also available to me as a homeowner, where I can look at your analytics and make some choices.
Yes and no. So let's actually disaggregate the idea of Brent and Geli being the same. So Brent's a smart guy, and Eguana inverters are pretty smart inverters. They can do a lot of really cool things on their own. But it's when you get to that large aggregated scale that Geli software really comes into play. We're able to look at as many distributed resources as are operating on our network and control them in aggregate to provide those grid services. So, if you installed an Eguana inverter at your house, it would do great. It would do solar self-consumption. It's able to be controlled by the utility. It is a quality piece of hardware. But when you want to get into the really more sophisticated aspects of distributed energy control, it's where you need a specialized software provider to come in over top. So that's the difference.
Okay, now you're also dealing with the utility itself? Do you provide software for the utility itself?
Well, Geli's business model has been to sell through hardware providers. So your question of whether or not you could buy Geli software, the short answer is no, you actually can't buy Geli software directly from Geli. The best way to explain it is it's like the computer industry. You buy a new computer from Dell, well, Dell buys components from Toshiba and Intel, and then they bundle it with Microsoft Windows. So we are the Microsoft Windows for the distributed energy marketplace.
Okay.
You mix and match your components, you buy it from the Dell, and Geli comes installed.
That's great. How big are you? Where are you? Where have you installed earlier? And how have you permeated the universe with Geli software?
Well, I can't say that we've completely permeated the universe, but we are installed on multiple continents. We have systems in Asia, North America, the Caribbean, and I think that's it right now, actively operating. We, as a company, are based in San Francisco, that we just opened our first foreign subsidiary in Australia, a very similar market to that of Hawaii. And we are actively working in Hawaii. We are a member of the Energy Accelerator Program. That's how we came to know Leslie. And we are very excited to be deploying our first systems there within the next couple of months.
Okay. How big is the company? How many coders really is what I'm asking?
How many coders? So Geli has about 35 full-time employees, and about half of them are very, very smart and talented coders. I, on the other hand, am not one of those folks, which is why I have to stay late and participate on radio shows. That's how I pull my weight.
Suffer, Andrew, suffer.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's a terrible life.
Yeah.
So Ray, what do you got for Andrew?
Well, did you finish your list of things that are obstacles or things that you would like to see?
I don't think I actually ever got to the obstacles that we mentioned in that, so good memory. One major barrier to installing solar plus storage in Hawaii is availability of energy use data. A lot of states here on the continent, they have widespread proliferation of smart meters, which utilities use to read meters automatically. Hawaii has some smart meters installed, but there has not yet been a widespread rollout of smart meters in the state. So collecting detailed energy use data on which to perform analytics so we can tell you what size battery you need and how much money it's going to save you, that's proven challenging. So we're working with some folks in the industry to come on with nice, simple workaround solutions to collect data. Another challenge that we're facing on the islands, and rightfully so, is the utilities are wary of solar installations that are far too big for the buildings that they're putting them on, so they export a lot of power during the day, which causes all kinds of issues at the grid level. So our strategy is to install batteries with this solar to capture that overgeneration and never feed it back to the grid. But batteries are a relatively new thing, so the utility is being careful about how they let these systems connect to the grid, and they're requiring a lot of companies to put in reverse power relays, which are expensive hardware. So that's also a challenge. We're working to show that software can effectively control solar without having any adverse effects on the grid.
Well, we only have a couple of minutes left, actually, so Andrew, let me ask you a question into the future. Where is this all going? You know, what role will your software play, within distributed energy and in Hawaii? And how is your software going to change? What's the dynamic on it going forward? You must have a plan.
We have a plan. The first step in the plan is you buy an inverter from Brent and you install it on your home. So you got to make sure that you have a solar plus storage system on your home. The second part of the plan is to help Hawaii achieve its goal of 100% renewables. You can't do that with big solar and wind farms alone. There will come a day when your Eguana inverter, enabled by Geli software hanging on your home, automatically knows that you're going to need more energy later tonight, so it asks your neighbor's Eguana inverter with Geli software installed on it, hey, what are you doing later? Can I borrow 5 kilowatt hours to make sure that my home can get through the night? And every home is going to have one of these systems, and the grid will become almost completely autonomous, and you won't have to worry about energy security ever again.
I want that, and soon.
Isn't that, remember we
All
were
right,
saying
guys.
last week, it's less battery, more brains. And that's what this does
that's
with
why
these two
software is the
systems
king.
put together. And so the hardware is there and it's making it work, and the software is
The other thing I
communicating,
want,
so-
by the way, Andrew, is I want a Geli software t-shirt.
I don't have, how about a pin? I can send you a pin.
I want it to be Geli on one side and Eguana on the
Yeah,
other.
well, I was going to mention, she
So,
took the words out of my mouth.
yeah.
Brent, do you have any Iguana? And I guess we'll spell it any way you want. And by the way, everybody, Iguana is spelled E-G-U-A-N-A rather than the old way with an I.
For energy.
What?
E is for energy, of course.
Of course.
So what would you leave our listeners with? What's the role of your technology going forward, and especially in Hawaii?
Well, our goal is to really productize storage and make it a very simple appliance that can be installed in any home. We'll be trialing our first commercial products on the same kind of product concept by the end of the year, and really making an appliance that sits in on the outside of the house like an air conditioner, or in the basement in colder climates like a furnace or a hot water heater. It's just a standard appliance for a home, and every home's going to have one.
We're moving, and this is the great technology that can take us to a modern, smart grid. So
It
Ray,
is.
you want to try to summarize? This wasn't easy. Ray's our summarizing person.
Well, I was particularly interested in hearing you guys talk, and I'm glad that I was able to be here today, because I really think you guys are the connection that will make a big difference going forward. And that's why I was looking for obstacles that need to be pulled out of the way in order to make this happen, because I think when you guys get rolling, the rest is going to be much easier than what we've been through.
Yeah.
It's been tough for us to be leading the charge, so to speak, here in Hawaii, but it's a necessity for us to get off of the oil, and renewables are the way to go. and you guys are going to make it happen. So I'm anxious to hear more from you later. Come back and see us again.
Yeah.
And help us to understand what else might be out there in the way that needs to be moved along.
Yeah, and you're going to
make it
learn and
happen.
you're going to improve it all the time. This is all iterative learning process. I know that. That's your secret. I know that. Okay, Leslie Cole Brooks, you have to say goodnight to our guests and let them say goodnight to you, and then we're going to close this show.
Okay, well, thank you so much, you guys, for agreeing to be on this show. I thought it was really good. Don't you wish now that we had a full hour? So see, isn't the DER Council just the best group? Look at this. I just had to reach out and say, please come help us out in Hawaii, and here they are. So anyway, so thank you so much.
Yeah,
And,
thanks for coming around. Brent
That's
Harris
great.
and Andrew Krulewitz, thank you so much. Aloha,
I'll
you
be in the
guys.
studio.
Aloha.
Okay, aloha.
Aloha.